It is Saturday, January 6th, and you are watching You Don't Watch Sports right here on the Feo Grande YouTube network. I'm Bill Smith, and the man right here is the man, the myth, the legend, Feo Grande himself. Omari Ellis. Omari, how was your sports week?
Mixed. It was mixed. Panthers lost again, and the owner decided to throw some stuff into the crowd because he was salty. That's always fun to hear. But we got some stuff we're gonna be talking about here. So I'm excited going forward with some of this based on some of the topics we have today. So I got some
Excellent.
good news. And
Yes.
starting, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no. I was just gonna say that we have kind of a football centric version of the show for you today, where on
Gridiron
you don't
football.
gridiron football, where on this show you don't watch sports. We're gonna cover three topics, sprinkle a little information into your conversation, so we can be that guiding light through the sea of sports talk. Let's get us started with topic number one. Omari.
Bill, it is playoff season.
Yes, sir.
Or just about. We're a week out. We got one
Right.
more week.
I
We
mean,
got
it's
one more
playoffs.
week.
It's this is
Yeah.
this is the week where we decide.
Who is going to
This is
get to the
week
dance?
zero of playoff season.
There we go. Week zero of playoff season. Some teams are in, some teams are out. We're going to talk about some of the things going on.
It
First
gets a
off,
little confusing. I need you to guide me through this
it
one.
does get a little confusing. So I'm going to start with the AFC and then we'll go to the NFC. So clinched in the AFC, clinched, and they got the first round bye and everything. Your number one seed for the AFC, the 13-3 Lamar Jackson led Baltimore Ravens. So they're in there.
Yep.
Also clinched to qualify for the playoffs at least. Miami Dolphins, Kansas City Chiefs, and the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns have clinched a wild card spot to get into the playoffs. However, there are
Yes.
teams that are in the hunt to get into the wild card and everything as well. So there's some things that can change in this 17th week. Because some people will point at a game between like the Rams and Niners on the NFC where, oh, they're both resting a lot of their starters because neither team really cares right now. And they're like, oh, good thing they added that 17th week so no one could play their starters. Look at the AFC, okay? Speaking of the Miami Dolphins, a team that is also pretty much in the hunt for the playoffs is the Buffalo Bills. And from what I've heard, the Buffalo Bills are in a weird scenario this Sunday where they can either beat Miami and become the winners of the division and the 2 seed, or they can lose to Miami. And if Jacksonville and the Steelers win their games, Buffalo's out the playoffs altogether. You can either be the 2 seed or you're out the playoffs. Best case scenario, you're the 2 seed. Worst case scenario, you missed the playoffs.
Wow. Wow. I wonder how those fans and that team feels about the Steelers not having to face any of the Ravens' prominent starters this weekend. Lamar Jackson has already been determined to be resting as the Steelers head over to Baltimore. That's a
Correct.
very interesting one to watch.
Yep. Jacksonville needs to win their game as well, I believe,
Mhm.
so that they can at the very least win their division or something like that. There's other things that like because Jacksonville's in the hunt, other teams that are in the hunt, and they need teams to win or lose without us going too deep into the details. But other teams that are in the hunt and still can have their stuff be decided this weekend, the Indianapolis Colts, the Houston Texans, because they are tied with the Jaguars in the AFC South. Three of the four AFC South teams are at 9-7. So and two of them play each other this weekend, I believe.
Yep.
I believe so. Three of them are tied at 9-7, trying to win that division.
You got the Jaguars going against the Titans, and then you got the Texans going against the Colts.
Yeah, Texans going against the Colts. I think the Texans win, and the Jaguars. Yeah, if the Texans win, they have the tiebreaker over Pittsburgh based on a head-to-head win percentage, but Jacksonville wins the tiebreak over Indianapolis and Houston based on their head-to-head win percentages. Indianapolis needs a lot of stuff to go their way. The Broncos could technically make it in despite the fact that they benched Wilson,
Right.
which apparently had to do with them not wanting to pay him for his potential injury stuff. Like he had like an injury clause to where he could get paid even if he gets injured, and they wanted him to waive that, and he said no,
Correct.
so they
Yeah.
benched him.
Right. We
Uh,
talked about that last week.
yeah, I don't know if we said that part of the detail.
I did.
Oh, okay. No, we said they didn't want to give him money. I didn't know it had to do with the injuries, but fair enough. Anyway, Titans also still technically have a chance to sneak into how they win a tiebreak over the Chargers. Oh no, they're out. They're just placed higher in the rankings. Okay, I'm like, how the fuck?
Yeah.
Anyway, so NFC, but yeah, so AFC can still be decided this weekend. It's gonna be crazy. Watch that Bills Dolphins game. Dolphins got some injuries too, so the Bills could just steal this 2 seed. Dolphins have clinched making it in though, even if they lose this Sunday. The Bills need it more than the Dolphins do. In the NFC, the number one seed has also been clinched, and so the bye week for the 12-4 San Francisco 49ers. Brock Purdy and the boys, or Sam Darnold and the boys this weekend. Anyway, we got the Dallas Cowboys have also clinched the playoff spot. The Detroit Lions also in there because they clinched their division
Yeah.
for the
It's
first time in 30
right.
years. We mentioned that last week, I believe. Um,
And then once
Tampa.
again, it's the South Division, right? That's kind of up for grabs.
Yep, I was just about to say
Okay.
Tampa and New Orleans are both at 8-8. Technically, what you call it? Oh no, if one of them wins, they could become 9-8. So never mind. I was about to say with the Falcons being 7-9, they got a shot, but I think they're more or less done. They need way too much to go there. Everything needs to go their way to unrealistic proportions for the Falcons to make it. Um, but yeah, the Eagles have clinched their way in. And so have the Rams. The Rams have clinched the wild card spot.
Boo.
Yeah, we can't have good things. The Packers
Hey.
still have a chance to make it in. The Seahawks still have a chance to make it in. We mentioned the Saints. The Vikings have a chance, but like Atlanta, need a lot to go their way. E means eliminated from playoff contention. So good. I'm about to say. Well, it was just one of these things. I was about to look at another team because of the way they got these things stacked up in these standings. I was like, oh, this team has a chance, but it had an E next to it. I'm like, okay, they're eliminated.
Chicago Bears, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. Yeah. Which I'm sad that they didn't make it to the playoffs, but at least,
Yeah.
you know, it could have been worse,
You could go
Bears.
500. No, you can't. No, never mind. Sorry.
It could have been worse, Bears.
No.
Imagine if you didn't have a really good receiver and number one overall picks for the next 4 years.
2 and
Anyway,
14.
2-14 with an owner that throws stuff at fans.
All right. So let's move on to something that doesn't have owners, but we're going to still talk football. It is the best and worst of the 2023 bowl season. Omar, I guess 2022, 2023, 2024 bowl season. We had a lot of great action going on, so I'm just going to give you a few different notes to carry through this conversation if anybody wants to talk to you about some college football. Best game of this season was absolutely the Gator Bowl. You had
Uh,
Clemson defeating Kentucky 38-35. Phil Maffa ran for 4 touchdowns, including a 3-yarder at the very end of the game to clinch the win. Humongous, heart pounding, awesome game there. Worst game. This one could be a toss up. For some folks, maybe this is their best game. The Orange Bowl this year, Omari. Did you hear about the Orange Bowl? Do you?
I don't think I heard about the Orange Bowl. Which one?
Well,
What happened with the Orange? Oh
Orange Bowl
yeah, I
was
heard about.
Georgia and
No, I
Florida
heard
State.
about this. I didn't know it was the Orange Bowl, but
Okay.
I heard about the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you hear about the further details outside of just the score?
Oh, just like the different things on the sidelines and all that.
The fact that like 22 of the starters entered the transfer portal immediately when they didn't qualify for the bowl games and left the team. So it's not the same Florida State team that went 12-0.
Well, we talked about that a couple of weeks ago about how that's one of the downsides of the bowl system is where often you're not even seeing the same team
Yeah,
that you
but
were
people
rooting for during the season.
yeah, but people also are like using that score as proof that they didn't belong in the playoffs anyway.
Oh, well, I mean,
They're like 68-3, see SEC superior, they didn't belong. And it's like it's not the team.
the other team didn't give up and go home.
Yeah, the other team knows they have a chance of making it to bowl games in the future. The other
Hey,
team didn't go undefeated.
all I know is that Georgia
Georgia also
beat
should have been
Florida
in.
State 63 to three.
Both of those
All I
teams.
know is that
Here's what I'm gonna
Georgia,
say.
all I
What
know is
I'm
that
gonna
the
say.
box score says 63 to 3,
So you're one of
Omari.
those people too. Okay. All right. Fair enough. You know what? I don't people, when you go to college, only go to SEC colleges. You will not be respected as an athlete otherwise. It doesn't matter what you do. You are not a good player
No,
because you didn't go to an SEC school.
I
So you
am
don't
saying,
deserve to make it to the
are you going to
playoffs.
let me fucking talk? I am saying that I do not respect Florida State because, as you just stated, 3/4 of their team walked out on them because they didn't make it to the playoffs. Well, you were in a bowl game. You could have made a ton of money for your college. You could have made a ton of money for your head coach. You could have made a ton of representation for your fellow athletes and your teammates, but you went home. And what happened? You got fucking embarrassed. You got embarrassed on national television.
But they didn't.
63 to 3.
The people getting embarrassed aren't on the team and are the people who are still there.
So
They
then
aren't the
why are you
people who
defending them?
deserted. They
So
aren't the
why are
people who
you
deserted.
defending them? That sounds like
Because
a
no,
nonsense
I'm
position.
defending
You
the
sound
people
like an
who
insane
stayed.
person.
I'm defending the people who stayed. God damn it. There's got to be some. So I should be punished because other people left my job. I should
No,
be
no, no,
punished.
no. You
Because
are
that's
a
what you're
team,
saying.
Omari.
That's
Omari,
what you're
you are a
saying.
team, and you said that the majority of the team left. So that is the
Yes.
team. So you are.
So
So
we're
I
gonna
am, I am denouncing that team, which was the guys who played for what is a college football season, 14 games. That team is the one that I am saying has allowed their college to be embarrassed on national television, and they deserve zero respect from me because they went home and they let down the guys who received the 3 and the L that stuck around and decided to play. The people who let them down are not me, who is down talking Florida State right now. It is their teammates that went home. Fuck those guys. I get to laugh at Florida State taking a 63 to 3 L because they are a joke of a college right now on national television. I don't care about the backstory because their own students allowed that to happen. So you failed as a college. You failed as an organization. You failed as a head coach when half of your team leaves you. You failed. That is the story of Florida State this year. Not, oh, cry me a river. I didn't make it to the playoffs, and now the entire country is mocking me because a team of rejects lost a game to a really good team who
I'm
got to
saying
play
don't
all
mock
year
the teams that
together.
stayed. Mock the players that left. Don't mock the people that stayed. That's all
They
I'm
they
saying.
received a 63. They received a historic loss on national television, Omari. They get mocked. And it's not their fault. It's the other people's
It's
fault, but I don't
okay.
know any of their
It's
names.
okay. They're never going to make it back anyway because this is just what it's going to be. Because, like I said, even if you're not in an
Fuck
SEC team,
Florida.
If
Fuck
you're not in
Florida.
the
Fuck
SEC
Florida.
team,
Fuck Florida
what did the
State.
Gators do?
Fuck
What did the Gators do?
UCF.
What did the Gators do?
Fuck the whole state and all of the colleges inside
Oh,
of it.
whatever they do. Anyway, I just pissed off two fan bases.
They couldn't even let my boy down here do his thing down there. You had to go fuck with his
nah,
good time.
my thing is
Fuck
yes,
all
68 to
Florida.
3. 68 to 3 happened. I
This was a single line on my script. This was supposed to be
Yeah,
something that I
I'm
just
not
blew right
trying to
past.
cry a river for. I'm just saying, like, to say a team didn't deserve to go, or to say to judge somebody, I don't know. It's weird. You can call them bad people for leaving. I guess I'm saying you can't necessarily call them a bad.
I don't know how
Like,
you
you
can.
can't say these people have no talent and have no skill at football and they're not good football players when they go 12-0. Like, that's got to count for something. And in a
Yeah,
system where
and
people,
go to your bowl game and beat one of the biggest football powerhouses of the last 10 years that's not named Alabama. Go to that bowl game and show everybody why you deserve to be there and why you should have been in the playoffs. But
what do you mean
no,
when you beat
I'm gonna
Alabama
take I'm
early,
gonna
when you
take
one of
my
the
ball
playoff
and
teams
go
early,
home.
when one of the other playoff teams that made it in is one of those 12, like Alabama? I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure Alabama's one of the teams they beat,
And life isn't fucking fair.
which
Don't
we
take
said
the
last
ball
week.
and go home. Fucking show up at the bowl and shove it down their throats.
I
But
think they went
no,
to other.
you left and now
From what
your
I hear, the
college is an
reason they went to
embarrassment.
other schools in the SEC is so they have a chance to play for a championship, so they can have a career after college. Since we are a championship-focused society now, where if you didn't win a championship or play for it, you might as well have not played the damn sport. As the way we treat athletes these days. So that's why the majority of them left, because they're trying to get a career after college. Because
That's a lie. That's a lie. If you stand out in college, you're going to get drafted.
But you
Point
don't
blank.
stand out in college if you don't win a fucking championship.
That's
Or
not true. That's not true. It's not true. It's not. How, like, there's all the NFL is filled with athletes who got drafted because they shined in college and were surrounded by dunces and didn't win hardly anything. The NFL is filled with them because
you
they're
have to go
freak
to a big
athletes and it
school.
was obvious.
You have to go to a big school to get
Florida
noticed.
State is a big school. It may not be the SEC, but like whatever. Mizzou is in the SEC, and we're at the dirt bottom pile of it, and we just get shit on all the time. It's not a fun thing to be, and it doesn't immediately mean that you're so cool. It's not
It means
SEC,
exposure.
it's Florida State versus Alabama, who has been the presence of college football for our entire adult lives. It's
Yeah,
not
the
Florida
SEC.
State versus SEC. It is
It
Florida State
is.
versus Alabama. It is
Do you
Florida
not
State
listen to
versus
the like your
Alabama.
Stephen A's and everybody that literally come out and talk about like, well,
Do you
it's
not develop your own
SEC.
opinion?
It's SEC. You're telling me my opinion is wrong. I developed my opinion at the start of this, and you said, nigga, you stupid. You didn't use those exact words,
No,
but
yeah,
you
because
said you're
you
stupid.
love to put words in people's mouths.
You literally just said I'm incapable of forming my own opinion.
Well,
When
because
you told me my opinion was wrong from the start.
it was a joke line because you said, "Do you not listen to Stephen A. Smith?" I was saying, well, no, I'm not going to just reparrot something that Stephen A. Smith says, even though we do that a lot on this show every
Considering I'm
week.
talking anti Stephen A. Smith with my comment,
But
and you're accusing me
it's
of listening to him because he's
I
one of the main people that the
yeah.
society does listen to. I know you're too cool and you're very differently wired than everybody else on the planet. You never get angry, you never get upset. You're a very calm, perfectly normal individual that nothing ever bothers you. I understand that. You're not influenced by nobody, nothing else happens. Congratulations, you're a better person than me. The rest of society, however, they are sheep and they do listen to what the media fucking tells them. And when everything in the fucking media tells them is SEC is the only fucking thing that matters, then that's what they're gonna believe.
SEC is the most important football conference. And people of sports media have talked about how this is an SEC favoritism thing. And you can say that. But if you get more specific, let's get more specific and be more detailed. It is not just a Florida State versus SEC thing. Who is the team that everybody says took Florida State's spot? Alabama, the biggest name in college football our entire adult life. Like it has been Alabama. Everyone who doesn't watch college football knows about Alabama now. Just like when we were kids, everyone knew USC and then everybody knew Notre Dame. They are the name and they got preferential treatment and it sucks. But
All right,
I'm just
so
saying it's
here,
not
here,
just
what
it's
I'm
not
gonna do.
just Florida State versus SEC. You're
Here's what I'm
talking
gonna
about
do.
Florida State versus you're talking about Jacksonville Jaguars versus Kansas City Chiefs.
Here's what
Like
I'm gonna
that's the
do.
level of like of course
Now
NFL
that's
is
enough.
going to show some preferential treatment.
No, no,
Of
no,
course
no.
Kansas City Chiefs are going to get the
What I'm
premium
gonna
spot
do?
on a game. Of course they're going to get more primetime games than the Jacksonville Jaguars cuz we fucking know that more eyeballs and let's be honest this whole thing is a business to sell commercials.
What I'm gonna do is because it's you're making it sound like this whole conversation is making it sound like I'm an FSU fan. I don't care. I literally purposely pissed them off earlier in the thing by doing and said I pissed off two fan bases. For those of you who don't know, the chant is FSU's thing. This is the Gator chomp. Those two teams hate each other. So when I do the two at the same time, it pisses off both fan bases. Anyway,
That was while
so
I was putting a middle finger and saying fuck the entire state of Florida.
so before I keep sounding like an FSU fan because I'm getting heated about my own opinions on life, let me just go ahead and move on.
We've long passed
Alabama,
we're long past that.
You deserved that spot. You sure did. Congratulations. You deserved that spot over the undefeated team that beat you, which is why you won against Michigan for the best game of the weekend. Oh wait, you didn't.
And that's all I was saying is that, in my opinion, Florida State proved that they deserved nothing because those kids walked out on everybody else who stayed, particularly their head coach and their coaching and their full coaching staff. That if you didn't respect them and you didn't, if that's not a guy that you didn't want to walk out on, then he's also a failure. And so like you kind of proved in this moment with like I get that it sucks. I get that it sucks. But
Yeah.
Florida State is still not a small school. They're not a gigantic school. It's not the Florida Gators. I know that, but it's still as far as like it's one of the top two. Like it's one of the of two schools of the states. It's got to be one of the tops because I hear them all the time in my life in the sports world. We don't have
All
to keep
right.
going on this,
No,
but it's just
what I'm gonna do
it's
is I'm
not like
gonna
it's UCF.
no. What I'm gonna
I would
do.
say it's not even Mizzou. I would say Florida
Oh,
State is bigger than Mizzou.
UCF already got screwed for going undefeated and not getting qualifying for the playoffs. That was years ago.
Well, who did they
Bottom
play though?
line is,
Sheboygan.
no, I'm not even. The bottom line is what I'm trying to say. I guess I'm gonna reword my original point because I think that's what happened. Is it got way too confusing. It was not so much them
That's
losing
what
because
happened.
they missed all their people is proof that they should have made it to the playoffs. It was more, it's not proof that if they were in the playoffs with their team, that they would have gotten beat 68-3.
Sure. No, yeah,
That was the
you're
whole
saying
point
it
I was
doesn't
trying to
prove
make. It's
it
not
doesn't prove
indicative
anything
of
on
their
paper.
It's not the
Like,
indicative of their strength. It's not
no,
indicative of what got them to 12-0.
right,
That's
right.
all I was trying to say.
And I
But
was making more of a not football argument, more of a character
yeah,
and morality
yeah,
argument of like, no,
yes,
they've clearly said that they don't deserve the honor
yeah.
of a playoff
Yeah,
championship.
because morally and all this stuff, like you say, and even the team on the field, 68-3, that's always funny. I can agree with those statements. It was just more the performance that game is not indicative of
You
the
really don't like
team
the
when it's
reaction
at
of people
full
saying,
strength.
"Ha, see, this is
They're,
why they shouldn't have
yeah,
been there in the
they're
first
using it
place."
to judge the team at full strength,
Hmm.
which I'm like, they may have still lost, sure, but I highly doubt it would have been 68-3 if the whole team stayed or if they went to the playoffs and played a different team that wasn't Georgia. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
That's all I'm saying. It's not indicative of the team at full strength. But yes, because of the people left and all of that, I will agree with you on those points. But my
Um,
favorite game of the weekend was Michigan beating Alabama because go Hardballs.
there you go. um, I had a few more lines. We're gonna skip back.
Best gimmick
I
was
do
the
want
Pop Tart Bowl.
see. I have. Do you know the turnover kebab?
I don't, but I want to learn about it. But yeah,
The turnover kebab is a team, and I'm sorry, I did not bring over the team the what
what
college it
team did
is.
it?
But every time so the team pre-orders a bunch of footballs with the opposing team's logo on them. And every time they get a turnover, they have a claymore on the sidelines that they then stab into the heart of the football and they stack them up.
That's
And
pretty solid.
in this team's bowl game, they got four turnovers.
So
So there was a claymore with four.
so for an individual team's gimmick,
Uh-huh.
love that. Love that. For the bowls, which there's so many fucking other bowls now. Like my friend and I were both making fun of the Pop Tart Pizza Bowl on a conceptual level. Well, not Pop Tart Pizza Bowl, but you know what I mean, Pop Tart Bowl
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
on
Pop
a.
Tart Pizza Bowl sounds like my Saturday at 13.
But you get my point. It's like, yeah, the Pop Tart Bowl. So, but they Pop Tarts was like, fuck that. Did you see the trophy? It's a functional toaster that can make Pop Tarts as part of the football trophy. Also, the mascot, they had an animated, well, not literally drawn animated, but energetic and so goofy looking
I saw that.
mascot.
I
And then at
saw
the
that.
end, it gets in the toaster and
And
it
then they
comes out and
eat a
they eat
giant.
it. The
Yes.
winners eat the pop. They eat the mascot. I'm
Yeah, I
like,
saw that.
that's and the mascot, and it ain't even like you're supposed to feel weird about it because it holds up like a dreams do come true sign, like it wants to be eaten. So it's like, yay! I get to be eaten by the great team,
Yeah, he's
and
like
it's
loving it. It's a really
like,
weird, like Rick and Morty kind of
well,
level. Like,
Hertzfeld
yeah,
took
it's very
over the
Hertzfeld.
pop. Yeah, he took over the Pop Tart advertising campaign for a long time. So he changed the way they advertise at Pop Tart over there. So
Oh God.
yeah, it's like dreams do come true, and then they fucking ate them. And it's like the Thanksgiving, you win, you eat the Thanksgiving feast. Pop Tart Bowl, you win, you eat the mascot. I think it's a cool way to make sure you're memorable. People are gonna have pictures of them taking big giant chunks out of that. That's a good memory to have.
Hmm.
So that's
No,
why I
that was a
like that as
viral
a
moment.
bowl
Like
gimmick.
there were all kinds of memes the day after of like the image of the team like circling the Pop Tart and breaking off chunks, and then that being superimposed with different background music or sound effects. It's just like can get really disturbing, really funny. There's a lot of different layers
I saw the
to it.
"There Goes My Hero" thing with him going in. There goes my hero.
All right, Omari, third topic of the day. Let's blow through this one real fast. Real fast. What do
All
you got
right.
for me?
Tell you what I got for you. If you smell what the UFL is cooking, bottom line is
UFL.
That's right. The USFL, United States Football League, and the Extreme Football League, or whatever XFL became when Vince stopped owning it. The XFL and USFL have decided to merger. The two spring football leagues are now one in the UFL, not the United Football League, if I remember correctly, because they united two leagues. In doing so, they sacrificed some franchises, but kept some of their own. And we'll go over the teams that are left now. They got two conferences. They've got a USFL conference and an XFL conference. From the USFL conference, we have the Birmingham Stallions, with Skip Holtz as their coach, the Memphis Showboats with John DeFilippo as their coach, the Michigan Panthers with Mike Nolan, and the Houston Roughnecks with Curtis Johnson. No, that's Curtis Jackson. Okay. Anyway, Curtis Johnson. Fun fact, Houston Roughnecks, that's an XFL team, Omari. What are you talking about in the USFL conference? Well, USFL had a Houston team as well, so they just merged the two and kept the Roughnecks name because it was bigger. And then the XF. Oh, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I mean, real quick on this conference, I don't know what the USFL is. Maybe
Okay.
it's because I know who The Rock is, and I knew who Vince McMahon was back in I was loosely following the original '90s push of the XFL, but I
Mhm.
knew who the XFL was. And they also have a team in my city. They had a team in my city, so that helped. I don't know if I had heard of the USFL.
It's like a minor football league that I think used to be around a lot more in the 80s and stuff until a certain mogul took over it, gonna make it huge. It didn't
Well, yeah,
make it
that had already
huge and it
merged with the
failed.
NFL, didn't it? Like, wasn't like the Chargers
No,
were one of those teams, and the Bills.
maybe. But bottom line is it kind of crumbled. They brought back a USFL in the 20 around 2020, 2021, around the same time XFL was coming back.
Okay.
XFL immediately crashed because COVID. Following year, USFL starts doing things. They start getting TV deals with like Fox and stuff. So Fox would promote it when it's going on in the spring and stuff. It'd usually be about 2 months after the Super Bowl for
Hmm.
like a few weeks. But they would cover it on your like Fox morning
In the spring,
shows and stuff in
that's
the
the
spring.
phrasing that they're always trying to push with this spring football, spring football.
Yeah,
Like they
we're
want you to
not
make sure
going
they
up
know
against
it's
the
yeah, it's
UF. We're
different.
not going against the
Spring
NFL.
football, it's spring football.
And
It's like that's
both.
almost the name of the sport, spring
Mhm.
football.
Yeah, and both leagues had the same idea of being well. XFL pushed it more as their mission statement, but they both had the idea of like, hey, you didn't qualify for the NFL, but you still think you got what it takes, and you want to show people that, as well as make money doing a sport you enjoy. Had this
Yeah.
spring football thing, maybe you didn't get drafted? Join our spring football league. Show them what they need. Hakeem Butler got put on a team from the Battlehawks last year, um, as well as a bunch of XFL people got signed to NFL rosters after showing that they had some capabilities.
All
Now,
right, don't leave me hanging. Yeah,
Speaking of
XFL
the
teams. I need to
XFL,
know.
we got the XFL conference. First and foremost, we got the Arlington Renegades, the champions from last year, with Bob Stoops as their coach. We
I
got the
guess you'd expect that.
yeah, something you'd also expect is the San Antonio Brahmas.
It's basically named after the owner, so
Yeah, with Wade Phillips as their coach. We got the Beer Snake people, the DC Defenders. Fan base wise, it just makes sense. They're the fan base that they love to put on TV because they have a beer snake at their stadium. And then they got the other fan base that pays the bills, the St. Louis Battlehawks. Survive.
oh,
Kaka's Law. Anthony Beck is back as our coach, and we're running it back as part of the UFL now.
the most financially earning team in the XFL.
Yeah, I think the three. That's why I said the team that pays the
Rock, you
bills.
owe us. You haven't appeared in St. Louis yet,
He
my
sure
friend.
hasn't. He
You
sure
fucking owe
hasn't.
us. A company you like is going to be in St. Louis in February. You may have some interest in attending that.
Yeah,
Someone may have interest in you in having interest in attending that.
yeah. That's actually holy shit.
You
That's
owe
actually
us.
smart.
Show up at Raw.
I just thought about that. I'm like, holy shit. Yeah, because he is back.
Yeah,
But yeah,
he can show up. He
finally.
can do a little bit of XFL promo. He can talk about the Battlehawks. He can give us a cacaw.
Yeah, Kakaw's Law. Yeah, he gave us a fucking video. Showed up at damn near every other stadium and then gave us a fucking video.
The one that sells out every week. The only one consistently throwing 20,000 plus. Several times we gave you 35,000 and you're not going to show up. Bro, bruh, bruh,
Bruh.
bruh. Cacaw. Go Battlehawks.
Caw. Rip the Vipers. It was a fun one-sided rivalry while it lasted.
Okay, would that who would that be your standout of losses here? Do you have a
Um,
particular one?
for me, it's the Vipers because I like making fun of the Vipers, and I like the fact that the Twitter for the two teams somehow early on in 2020, the two fan bases decided this is the rivalry, we're gonna hate each other, simply based on the concept that Hawks eat snakes. And then with the Vipers always being terrible and the Battlehawks always being good, it was nice to be on the good side of a one-sided rivalry
Uh-huh.
outside of baseball. Uh so there you go. But one that I could actually make fun of the other team because I didn't know anybody that rooted for it.
Oh God. All right, so we're both picking the Battlehawks for
Oh yeah.
the UFL championship,
Good
whatever they're
goodbye,
gonna call it.
goodbye Orlando palette swaps. We'll see you
Yeah, I
later.
was gonna ask you. I thought Orlando had a team, and
They had the
if you remember.
Guardians. They had New York's team from the previous year. And they palette swapped the thing, and nobody in Orlando liked it on a principle level. They're like, Mountain Lions had nothing to do with Orlando, and those colors are ugly. I don't really want to go to the games. And then they sucked on top of it, so they didn't go to the games. So it's instead of a rest in peace, it's more of a rip bozo. So
All right. Well, this has been a little bit of a supersized extended version of You Don't Watch Sports. Hope you enjoyed. As always, if you have something that you want us to talk about, or if you have an opinion on Florida State, drop it in the comments below. We want to know. Omari will argue with you in the comments. Get in them comments. Uh, you can also find us on a show we do every Tuesday called This Guy Hasn't Seen, where we watch movies, trade little things back and forth. Sometimes it's TV, sometimes it's wrestling shows, sometimes most of the time it's movies. Go check that out. Playlists somewhere over there on the Feo Grande network. Where else can they find you on the internet?
They can find me every week on the Whatever We Want pod. Every week, every Wednesday on the Whatever We Want podcast with a good friend of mine, a good friend of the show, Super Jazz.
Super Jazz.
Thank you very much. As nature intended. Yeah, we talk about just that, whatever we want. We don't leave the conversation, etc. I have a Twitter and a Twitch at Giotavi. That is Giotavi. Come on in, stop on by. Streaming a lot more in 24. Yeah, that's
Sweet.
about. Yeah, that's about it.
Excellent. All right. Well, that's your three topics for the day, folks. Be good.